Right, so this is a quick video just to go over the HKS Supercharger kit that I'm selling. So there we have the adapter plate that bolts onto the engine, all the spacers, bolts, the block that mounts the cylinder head, tensioner pulleys, the VTEC mounting point, all there, and then obviously the supercharger mounts there. If you've seen any of my videos, you see that I uprated the oil cooler for the supercharger. So what we've got here is a Davis Craig transmission cooler, and this is the type of cooler that you connect via these small holes. So all I done was buy an oil cooler fan mounting kit, which is like cable ties basically, and I used that to go through my intercooler. So one there, one there, one in each corner. The pipework I replaced as well, so this is not HKS, this is an upgraded item. I would recommend to change this pipe because it is a couple of years old. It's the sort of thing that it makes common sense to change it. And as you can see, the HKS kit comes with this convoluted tubing that protects the hose as well. So I would change the hoses, but the oil cooler's spot on, never had any problems with that. This bit of hose here, this is the outlet for the bypass valve or blow off valve, if you want to call it. I used this and then cable tied it so that it pointed towards the passenger side wheel well, and just basically vented towards the brake disc. Just makes it a bit quiet. If you have it vent directly next to the car, then the engine is quite loud. Coupler, this goes for on the throttle body area, the charge pipe near the throttle body. This goes on here, and then there's another alloy coupler. This alloy coupler, which then goes into this one here, which goes on the throttle body. So these are Viper Performance, they're not cheap hoses. You can see they're quite thick. Never had any issues with these, and decent Jubilee clips, not the cheap ones with the slotted holes which tend to leak. So that's those pipes. You can see that pipe there. I've got that's an aftermarket one because of where I redone it all. Another intercooler pipe. This is for the passenger side. This goes to where the intercooler is. And it's got a bracket that mounts on here as well, which I'll show you in a second. This is another intercooler pipe. This actually goes to, if you imagine the front of the car, this goes to where the intercooler is, this pipe, this end, and then goes up. And if I show you basically the way it goes, is this then goes on like that, and that pipe there goes off to the supercharger, clamps onto the supercharger. So looking at this in a bit more detail, this is a tile style blow off valve, bypass valve. These are better than the standard HKS one, because the HKS one has a tendency to cause compressor surge, which is obviously very damaging on this type of supercharger. You can see it's got a big outlet. I brought the softest spring I could get, and then I machined it to make it slightly thinner, so it's even thinner. Perfect, never caused me any issues, worked very well. Like I said, never had any compressor surge. Another intercooler pipe, as you can see, with couplers. Ram air filter. This is an upgrade on the HKS item that comes with the kit. Suction pipe with a 3-bolt flange, you can see there. That bolts directly to the supercharger. This is the non-pressurized side of the supercharger, so basically where the air gets sucked through the filter into the supercharger. We've got the supercharger reservoir. I opted to have just a one clip on here, It's been fine. There's room for 2, you can see that slot there, but honestly there's no need for it. It's fine, it's not heavy, it's not going to cause an issue. And obviously with this, I'd recommend, well, you will have to buy supercharger oil. There's no point reusing old stuff, and it has a tendency to go black because it picks up the dye or picks up the colouring of the hoses. This is the bracket for securing the right hand side, if you're looking at the front of the car, intercooler piping, and it sort of clamps onto an existing bolt hole. So from the HKS kit, this would not fit the bolt hole that's there, so I had to slightly slot it. It's not the best. You could probably tidy it up with a file, and then you can have a Jubilee clip just round this section here, if you see, and that just clamps the pipe, just holds it steady. This is the other part of the suction pipe. You can see the breather inlet there, and this blocked port was for recirculating the bypass valve. Personally, I don't think that's a good idea. That's why it's blocked off. It's far better to vent the bypass valve. It gives it more chance to get rid of excess pressure and less chance of compressor surge. Here we've got the belt for the smaller pulley, which is part number 6PK1295. So if you search that part number, you can easily get hold of that belt. Saves you searching around for a belt that fitted. I had to try a few. This is the pulley that comes with the supercharger. This is a slightly smaller one. I think it's 110mm. Don't quote me on that. I can't 100% remember. But basically, it's the higher boost version. So this supercharger's got 110,000 RPM limit, and with a rev limit of around 8,400, 8,500, you'll be at that 110,000 limit. Got various Jubilee clips. This bracket here just holds the air filter and the charge piping together. It's just to prevent it from hitting the supercharger pulley. You'll see when you have a look at the instructions how that works. There is other brackets that come with this kit, but I found a lot of them were completely unnecessary. And what's in this box is basically everything that was fitted on the kit for me to get it to work. This is the supercharger itself. You can see HKS with a 90-degree fitting on the casting. You can see, turn this, quite weighty. Turn it that way. You can see the 3 bolts for the mounting points. They've got a bit of Loctite residue on there because it makes sense to Loctite. It's not the sort of thing you want vibrating off. You've then got the pulley bolts that I've obviously screwed in so they don't go missing. And then you've got these directional supercharger hose pipes for the oil. Then you've got the pressurized pipe section there. That will be boosted air. And then on this side you have the inlet turbine or compressor itself, and you can see the 3-bolt flange. I've just put the 3 bolts in to make everything tidy and everything together. As you can see, hopefully you can have a good look in there. There's no obvious damage. I've given it a clean. Supercharger's perfect, no issues with this. It's worked spotlessly since I had it fitted. So yeah, that's everything. Reasonably easy kit to install. The only thing you won't be getting with it is the intercooler, and the main reason for that is that the intercooler's there. I'm going to be reusing that. It's not hard to get an intercooler that fits this car. You might have to trim the plastic grill like I have, or remove it. If I show you from above, you can see the top of the intercooler, and I made some 6mm aluminium plate that mounts onto the crossbar on the front of the car. Drilled a couple of holes that mounted it securely. Done a great job. And the actual, talking about the supercharger, the oil cooler mounted on the back here, and that's what provided it with the plenty of airflow. The HKS one mounts it here, which in my mind is not a good position. It is completely out of the airflow behind the intercooler, especially on the left hand side where the air is the hottest. It works perfectly. Done a good job for me. So yeah, that's everything. If you've got any questions, just fire them away. There's probably going to be little bits and bobs that you may well have to do yourself, so I'd say really this is sort of a kit that someone who's got a bit of knowledge of the car should try and install. I just remember actually there's one thing I've missed. This is the HKS oil filter for the supercharger. I'd recommend changing this. It's got the arrows on it telling you how it flows. You can buy these relatively cheap. I think they're called magnetic transmission oil cooler filters. You'll probably find them online, or you can get the Rotrex equivalent, will be the same. So yeah, that's everything. Any questions, fire away.